I guess to answer the title of the video, I made 4,861 Australian dollars vending at my first card show. I'm going to share you what we sold, the profits, key takeaways, and I guess overall vibes of the card show. Hopefully after watching this video, especially for those who actually want to start their vending journey, I hope this inspires you or gives you some sort of perspective, I guess, into kind of how it all works. Anyways, welcome to my first video. My name is Vinny, or in the TCG world, I'm known as Vin Fernape or Evolving Cards, and me and my mate recently went to CardCon 3 in Sydney, Australia to vend for the first time. So I mainly do Japanese singles and slabs, mostly Pokemon, but I also do One Piece. However, my mate Chris only does One Piece. So I guess you can say that was our main audience coming into this card show. So when we got to the venue of the show, we didn't really account for how long it took to set up the table. We got there at 7:45, the VIPs came in at 8:30. For the first 2 hours, it was really slow on the Pokemon side. People would barely even look at the binders that I had, or even ask whatever we had on the display case. However, we were selling products left and right when it came to One Piece. I honestly kind of regret not bringing all my One Piece stock. Now by the time 10:30 hit, that was when general admin came through. That's when I started to make some of my Pokemon sales. I sold low to mid ARs and SARs. I also had promos, whether it's vintage, modern, mid-era. Those did sell quite a bit, but it was majority of the low SARs and ARs that were popping off on our table. The slabs, however, did not sell at all. I waited the entire show to make a sale on any of the slabs, whether it was One Piece or Japanese. In the end, I did make the decision to just kind of give it to a different vendor, sell it at a market percentage. And surprisingly, I was still able to make profit on that. I just didn't want to deal with slabs anymore, so I had someone else deal with it. Now, enough of me rambling on of the entire show. Here is the breakdown. So as I mentioned before, I made 4,861 Australian dollars, and that is just purely from buying and selling cards, both One Piece and Pokemon, and this is only purely on my side. For Pokemon, I sold 3,276, and for One Piece, I sold 1,585. If it weren't for those slabs that I kind of offloaded at the end of the show, the total of Pokemon cards that I've sold, which were just mainly singles, would have been down to just 1,578. For the cards and slab that were sold, I spent around $3,079.50 buying and having them shipped to me, meaning in total I net profited $1,781.50, and this is only for buying and selling cards. Now if I were to add all those extra costs, then that would equal to $381, and that is including the table, custom shirts, custom banner, the little square reader, and all these other accessories that we brought along with us. Now minusing that from the $1,781 I made, it would come down to a total of $1,450 of profit, which honestly is still pretty good for a first time vending. I was kind of hoping to push 2,000, but like I said, majority of the stuff that was sold was One Piece, and I didn't really bring much stock of it. It was majority Pokemon. Now, what are some key takeaways and learnings that I could use in the future and for first time vendors? Number one is actually something I haven't mentioned, is making sure you have a lot of $5 and $10 notes. We struggled so much having to break 20s and 50s that if we had $5 and $10, we wouldn't have to go to the route of using card or Pay ID. Definitely bring more $5 and $10 notes. You might not even think of bringing cash. Trust me, cash is always better to have. Number two, speaking of $5 and $10, don't let a $5 to $10 discount stop you from making a sale. Obviously, it depends on the card, but for me, I was able to be happy on giving customers a $5 to $10 discount depending on what cards they buy and how many they bought. In the end, I was still able to make a profit. The customer gets a good deal. Everyone kind of wins. Like I said, it does depend on the card, but since I dealt with the low to mid-range ARs, the more that they bought, I was more happy to give a discount. And I guess lastly, just for me, I will bring more One Piece. I did not expect it to kind of take off at the start of the show. I guess it's kind of good as well to have variety. I'm willing to take that risk on expanding and not just doing Pokemon. Now I guess to kind of wrap things up, will I vend again? Of course I will. It was so fun. CardCon was such a vibe. Talking to people, trading with them. It was chaotic and it was stressful at times, but I loved it. I wish we had better content for vendor POV. That is something that we will work on next time. It was pretty fun. Anyways, if you guys made it this far into the video, see you all next time. Peace. I don't know what's a good outro.